Another thing that you need to talk about in your worship team are what are the things that are non-negotiable and what are the things that you're going to have a conversation about, right? So for me, like as a creative, as working with creatives, I understand the pull to be late, and that is okay, and I'm okay with that. And I'll work with you around that. We'll have some conversations around that, but we'll work together with that. Now, what I'm not okay with is blatant disrespect, right? If somebody says, I don't think that you are qualified to be a leader in this church or something like that, like that's a line you shouldn't have crossed. And we're going to have a different kind of conversation. Or, so I really have a hard time with divas, right? And so if somebody's saying something like, man, my grandmother was a founding member of this church, you should schedule me more often. That's not really showing me a heart that is wanting to worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. It's showing me somebody who really wants to be on a stage and have a spotlight, right? And so we're going to have a very different conversation about that. I don't think it's healthy for me to put you on the stage. And so what are the things that are very clearly going to get you kicked off the stage, or I'm going to protect you from the stage? And what are the things that's like, okay, well, this is not a great thing for the team. We should probably have a conversation about that. If you can be thinking about those, make a few lists and just communicate your expectations, and don't just communicate them once, communicate them often. Some people like to put them into a document, and that's really helpful, especially a signed document, because you can say, hey, look, these are the things that you've agreed to do. Just if you're doing that, make sure that you are doing it in a way where you're communicating, this is the type of culture that we're expecting to build. This is what we're trying to accomplish by doing this. That it's not just a bunch of rules of don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Okay. And so set your expectations clearly, and then actually hold your team accountable. Your expectations don't really mean anything if you don't hold people to those expectations. Okay. And this is something that bigger churches a lot of times are a lot better at doing this, because they are dealing with so many people. They learn very quickly that if you don't pull up weeds in the beginning, then they're going to grow up with your team, okay? And then they're going to be big problems, big weeds later on, okay? And you're really going to see them. And so if you really want to protect your people, if you really want to protect the integrity of your team, deal with things early. Deal with things early and have lots of conversations, lots of hard conversations. Hold fast to your convictions, and don't do it alone. Bring a youth leader involved, bring a pastor in, and make sure that you're not doing anything out of a desire to get back at anybody else, but genuinely because you want to see the culture of the worship team that you're trying to build to thrive. And this is where managing people is really gets a little bit difficult and is a little bit muddy. You can deal with difficult personalities. You will have to have some people with difficult personalities on your team. You will have to schedule them, and they will do things that will not disqualify them, but still frustrate you. And so it's really important to have your expectations figured out, well communicated, well documented, and then you stick to them, and you hold to them, and then you learn to love them like Jesus loves them. And so, that's part of the gig. It's working with people, and you can do it.